Hey everyone, it's Matt, aka Tech Ranger, and today we're going to take a look at Starfield and the character creation. To say this game is massive is a little bit of an understatement, but there is a lot of systems in the game, a lot of familiar systems. One of those systems is character creation, and I think it's actually simpler this time around. However, there's a lot of options within it, and there are some things that if you don't pick, you might be stuck with for at least a little while. There's a little bit of a prologue leading up to it, but then you create your character, and there's a lot of options. It's actually one of the simpler Bethesda systems as far as character creation goes, but there's a lot to kind of digest in terms of what you can pick and what determines your character's playstyle from the start. So in this video, I'm going to break all that down, and if you enjoyed the video, get some value out of it, leave a like down below, and leave a comment if you have any questions. Without further ado, let's jump into character creation for Starfield. So the first part of character customization in this game consists of cosmetic changes. So you're just changing the appearance of your character. First, you're going to start with a biometric ID, which is just a selection of about 40 different presets. And this is what you're going to want to use as your base. Then from here, you can actually massage the character into what you want them to be. On the body screen, this is pretty much what you're used to from past Bethesda games. However, once you choose the body type to a female from a male, that means you're going to have to start back at the presets if you want to get a different look. Otherwise, you'll have to do that in the next tab. Funny thing about that though is that you can still choose the walk type as if you're walking as a male character versus a female character. Skin tone is actually something that we can change in the next tab, but if you want to see your full character with that skin tone, here is where you'd want to change it. You're going to get an up close look in the next tab since we're going to be looking at the face. So this next tab is actually where it gets a little bit more involved if you want it to be. You don't have to engage with this stuff, but you can if you want. So skin tone, pretty self-explanatory. You can choose pretty much all from white to dark, but then we get to head shapes, and this is where you can actually refine things. So if you want to pick a head shape that you like, this is where you can kind of massage it to what you want it to be. And then we hit A to refine it on controller, and you got to use this little ball here to basically refine your choice. Not super easy to do on a controller, but this might be something that's a little bit easier to do on PC. There you can check out the hair presets, and there's 45 of them. You can't actually change too much with your hair outside of color. Pretty important to choose a preset that you like, because you might be stuck with it for a little bit. The next thing I wanted to highlight was this forehead section. Again, you can actually refine this, but there's quite a bit more options instead of that weird like D-pad menu that we had before. You can actually change things like how narrow or wide the forehead is, and the cool thing is that you can pretty much do that for the rest of the options aside from something like eye color obviously, but eyebrows, ears, mouth, and it's a lot of customization, probably something that most people will not engage with, but it's nice that it's there. And then you have your teeth as well. You can go from all the way from really nice to maybe not so nice. Now this next section is your background, and this is very important because this is going to determine what skills you have at the start, and getting skill points, leveling up, a little hard to do at first, slow leveling. So you want to be pretty spot on to your playstyle here. That way you don't waste this opportunity to get some quick, easy skills and use the ones that you're going to actually use and give you a leg up on any early game content. So the Beast Hunter, for example, you have fitness. This is actually tied to your stamina. It's O2 in this game, and then there's like CO2 buildup, which kind of acts somewhat like radiation. So when you get to the point where you're running and then you overexert yourself and then there's CO2 buildup, that means that your O2 meter is not actually going to be able to recharge to full until that CO2 buildup is gone, which does go down over a short amount of time. This is something where if you're running and sprinting a lot, you might want to have. Ballistics is all about ballistic weapons, so if you want something like this from the start, and then the more you level a skill up, the more damage you're going to do with ballistic weapons. Very similar to the way Fallout 4 works in their skills. And then gastronomy is a skill that deals with cooking. Look through all of these, see what things you want to use. I ended up going for the cyber running. I like to do a lot of stealthy things, and then security, which is all to do with lock picking, be able to pick advanced expert locks, and then theft or pickpocketing, just in case I'm feeling a little mischievous. Or if that isn't your style, maybe you go something with like long hauler, weightlifting. Encumbrance is something that's even more of an issue in this game than it was maybe in Fallout 4, so you might want that extra weight. In this game, you carry a lot of things and you pick up a lot of loot, even more so than maybe Fallout 4, so going back to your ship, dumping your loot, and then going back out maybe won't be like the best thing. Over encumbrance isn't going to stop you dead in your tracks. You can still move around, but it is going to keep you from fast traveling, which is very important in this game because it's a pretty big game in scope. The most important thing here is to not think too hard. Just pick what you want from the start. You're not going to be locked out from choosing any of these starting skills. You're just going to need a skill point once the game starts. These are just free skills. Next part is also very important, but also something you don't have to engage with at all. These are more of things that you can pick that'll change your gameplay experience. So if you want to go in totally vanilla and not have any changes outside of the normal Starfield experience, then don't choose any of these. You can just hit X and finish. But if you do want to engage with this stuff, you can pick a trait, and that'll be a benefit to you in your gameplay experience. However, each trait has a downside as well. This first one, which I actually picked for my playthrough, is alien DNA. You'll have increased health and oxygen, but healing and food items aren't as effective, so this can be pretty difficult if you start off on a hard playthrough like I did. But if you're new to this sort of game and you're not really familiar with some of the enemy types and you don't want to get into ship fights, it might be a little difficult at the start. So I actually picked the hero worshiper trait because I wanted the Enduring fan to shower me with some gifts, at least for a little bit, and he does pop up in spectacular fashion. In fact, in my game, he actually ran up while I was having a conversation with somebody else, which I thought was pretty funny. The Enduring fan was actually in Oblivion, so it's a cool throwback, but not necessarily something you need to do right off the rip. That's going to do it for character creation, background, and the traits. There's a little bit more to character creation this time around, so I thought it was helpful to put something like this together to give you guys an idea of what this is like going into Starfield if you're about to pick up the game for yourself. If there's something you're not understanding and need some explanation, let me know. And with all that said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and happy gaming!